United!
Hello everybody and welcome back to Premier League Predictions here with very biased opinions. As always, there are timestamps down in the description, so if you do want to jump ahead to certain games, you can do that by clicking in the description below and also on the chapters feature on the YouTube video itself, although I would never, ever recommend that you do that.
We are also an Amazon affiliate, so please, if you're based in the UK, have a click below if you're buying something from Amazon. It's a small click for you, but it'll pay for a laptop to finally put our videos online. Currently, we're using a
typewriter.
Currently, we're using a modem that makes a series of beeps and whistles. It's very confusing. It feels like it's 1997 over here. Also, there's a free Audible trial below, so please, if you're interested in Audible, have a click on that. It's great stuff.
Okay, very good, Thomas. Right, before we jump into week 5, we have to go wind that clock back for what seems like an eternity and go back beyond these boring-ass international fixtures to go back to this exciting round of Premier League football to find that I actually won a week. And I'm absolutely annoyed that you put your scores in because you didn't even bother to show up for the video. So what's that about? This was a forfeit for you. I should have got more than 1 point. I did win anyway, as it turned out, for getting that Arsenal score correct. And also backing Spurs to beat Man United, which they did, and we'll get back to. I'm sure we'll talk about that a lot more. But a lot of crazy scores, as you can see, loads of goals been flying in. Let's hope that continues. Without delaying any further, let's lead in for week 5.
Leading us off, Ian, it's a bloody doozy. Everton host Liverpool.
Yeah, the Merseyside derby, Thomas. As I said, had to wait for this game for a couple of weeks now after the international fixtures. Usually when we get to them, Everton versus Liverpool, it is Liverpool who are in the ascendancy and Everton are long shot outsiders, shall we say. But that's not the case this time, Tom. Ancelotti's side are perfect so far, 4 wins out of 4 and playing really well, and Liverpool coming off the back of a narrow defeat to Villa.
So Liverpool shipped 1 or 2 goals. Sorry, wait.
Get it in now, because this will come back to you later on in the video.
They shipped 7 goals to Aston Villa. The only thing that could improve a Man United fan's day after losing 6-1 to Spurs is to watch Liverpool lose 7-2 to Villa. It was perfect timing. They were horrendous in this game. Villa were all over them. It was like just a party for Villa. Like it was like Liverpool came in drunk.
A goal early, didn't he? But every little everything that was going for Liverpool went against them. Like in this, we talked about things like not going 100% for Liverpool this season. Yeah. This was evident in this game with every deflected shot flying in the back of the net.
Yeah, it was great. I really enjoyed it. I could watch this literally every day for the next month.
And so this one's an interesting game with Everton in absolutely fantastic form. Calvert-Lewin, James Rodriguez has been on fire so far. Richarlison's looked really good. Allen's looked really good in centre midfield. Do you think that Everton, the only weakness in Everton is still Pickford, by the way, but he did play well for England, but shocking mistake for one of the Brighton goals. He just dropped the ball.
Yeah, so Everton come in. They beat Brighton 4-2, which was a good result, and they played well. But this was probably the first match that Brighton really didn't even turn up to, and Pickford made the scoreline look a lot better with this. Brighton didn't have the swagger they've had in a lot of the games, where they looked as dangerous going forward, and a lot of credit needs to be given to Everton. They took Brighton seriously, which I don't think everyone has been doing this season, and they probably should do, because we've agreed Brighton have been fantastic. But, Liverpool, they're going to really want to write that 7-2. Like, no professional wants to lose 7-2. And the way the interviews afterwards, it was almost like 7-2 hadn't happened for Jurgen Klopp. It was almost like it was imaginary.
Klopp has got enough clout in the bank to almost just laugh the game off and get away with it. Whereas
I really hope this Liverpool team come out and want blood, because Everton can pretty much match 90% of their team, and it's going to be such a good game if they both go for it. You feel like it's going to have goals. Liverpool currently at the back aren't that great. You've mentioned Jordan Pickford loves an error, but the swagger Everton are playing with, you feel like they're going to come into this and actually fancy it. I'm going for a lot of goals in this game, Ian. How about you?
Well, it looks like Everton, you would fancy Everton a lot because they're playing so well. And also they look so good from set pieces. They're scoring a lot of goals from corners and free kicks. I just cannot not back Liverpool. I don't know why. I just think there's going to be a response. I want Everton to win this, but I think Liverpool are going to win 2-1.
2-1, Ian. Oh my God, get out. It's 4-3 to Everton.
I love it.
I'm sorry, there's not a chance there aren't at least 5 goals in this game. There's not a chance.
West Bromwich Albion versus Burnley.
Burnley have about 6 fit players that are allowed to play football. They're coming off a pretty comprehensive 3-1 loss to Newcastle. West Bromwich Albion might be the worst team in the league. They were beaten easily 2-0 by Southampton. I don't know which of these teams I fancy in this match, Ian.
Yeah, I think a bit harsh on West Brom. They've been really shit at the back. If you looked at they could have a goal of the season competition already with like the goals they've scored. They score absolute worldies every time they go forward. And I know that the stuff, how bad they are defensively kind of overshadows that. I think it's a must-win game almost. I hate saying that so early in the season for both sides because this Burnley side looks very, very lacklustre at the moment, and you've talked about why that is. I know it's because of Dyche's issues of getting players in and all that. I think West Brom might win this game. I just think there's a lot of things wrong with Burnley. I think there's some worrying signs there, and I'm going for another 2-1. I'm going for a 2-1 West Brom win.
Yeah, the biggest worry for Burnley is that they just don't have enough players anymore to even compete for each position. Like, if every player is completely secure because there's no one else coming in for them, and if Nick Pope is going to start making errors, which he did in the last match for the first time in quite a while, you worry for the competitiveness of the squad, for how their trainings are going. We talk about how big teams in like France and Spain and Germany can sometimes have problems in the Champions League because they don't have real opposition against them. Well, imagine if in training you're training with a bunch of 16-year-old kids because there are quite literally not enough players. It's hard to raise your level. That being said, Sean Dyche is a terrifying human being when he wants to be.
But Bilic is not.
I mean, Bilic is, but West Brom are garbage.
It's so uneven. It's so uneven.
Look, you didn't come here for nuanced opinions. You came here for very biased opinions. If you came for anything else, you didn't read the title. It's going to be a 1-1 draw. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the Grandstand Bettors Bet of the Week. Tottenham Hotspur versus West Ham United.
Yes, Thomas, absolutely right. This is our Grandstand Bettors Play of the Week. We've been on fire predicting stuff for Grandstand Bettors. We've got 3 or 4 right in a row now, including picking England to beat Belgium at the weekend and Wolves beating Fulham, although probably most of you would have picked that before. So we're doing really well. We're on good run of form. If you haven't been over to Grandstand Bettors yet, make sure you do. There's links down in the description. There are superb tips to the website. If you like betting on sports, they're going to help you out no end with all your sports betting, just based on the picks that they pick alone. And we are going for goals in this game. So we're going for over 3 goals in the game of Tottenham versus West Ham United. And
1-0 the Spurs.
Well, probably. But I don't think anyone can really argue with that based on how many goals these sides can score in there.
Yeah. So Spurs absolutely demolished Man United. We'll get to the Man United side, but is Son one of the top 10 players on earth right now? Because holy crap, the last 2 years he's been nigh on unplayable. He's like lightning on the ball. His finishing against United was absolutely spectacular. The connection he has with Harry Kane as well, and we know Harry Kane is one of the best players in the world. We know the guy is just goals. Their connection up front is unplayable. We came into this season, and the one knock you had on it was Son and Kane never seemed to have this connection. They didn't seem to have this wavelength, and all of a sudden this year, Harry Kane's like, mate, I can pass, watch. And he's just been pinging the ball to Son, and Son is so quick, and his finishing is like perfect. And both of these players can play ugly football and have proven that. Like Harry Kane at like England level, we've seen it now enough times. Like you touch him, he's going down. He knows exactly how to play football. Like Son has been in the military, and we've seen the South Korean team in internationals. Like they
Speaking about players that know how to go down, Eric Lamela.
Yeah. We're going to get to that when we get to the Man United side of this, because I can't be saying negative things about a team that just beat Man United 6-1. But Spurs were fantastic in that game, and their team this year, it makes sense why you bring in Mourinho to win games, to buy established players, and to gel a team together like this. And they look really good. And they got Gareth Bale. Like, Gareth Bale isn't even playing yet. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, when's he due back? He must be getting back to fitness pretty soon.
Yeah, Gareth Bale's back for this match.
Oh, awesome. Okay, didn't know that. Good.
So, I just genuinely would not want to be West Ham right now because they finally got a win.
You say that. You do say that. But West Ham themselves have come off the back of 2 really good performances themselves. This result got completely swept under the rug with what happened with Man U, Spurs and Villa, Liverpool. But West Ham went to Leicester and beat them 3-0 and beat them very comprehensively 3-0 as well. That comes off the back of a big victory they had the weekend before. So it just shows you West Ham United is still like a bit of a mixed bag when they're one of these like middle of the road Premier League sides that when they're on it, they're great. And then inexplicably, they'll just have a game where they're shite and they do nothing.
By a game, you mean a run of games? Yeah,
probably. But Bowen's looking good, scoring goals finally at this level, which is awesome. Antonio is just... I mean,
he's a striker now.
How does he not get England call-ups? Is he retired from England football? Because he was playing great. He surely deserved to be in the squad, I'd have thought.
I actually don't know how Mikel Antonio doesn't get called up. Maybe it's because he's a right winger playing striker, and Gareth Southgate.
But he can play
Gareth Southgate told us if you're in form, he's going to pick you.
Well, that's why Maguire gets in, but we'll get to that certainly later on as well. So it should be a really good game. We know that Moyes only knows how to win. We know that Mourinho is turned this Spurs side into a bunch of see you next Tuesdays.
Do you think that David Moyes has in his office the song "All I Do Is Win, 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 No Matter What" just on repeat constantly? Just like repeat the mantra, "All I do is win, 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 no matter what," just over and over again.
I'm too old for that song. I don't know what it is. I went. Sorry. Barbie Girl was the last song I paid attention to. Thomas, give me a score prediction, son.
Spurs 4, West Ham 1.
Oh, I thought you were going to do a 4-3 again as well. I'm going to back Spurs as well. I'm going big. We have to go for goals. Tottenham 3, West Ham 2. Thomas, watch out! The Eagles are coming. Because Crystal Palace versus Brighton, Hove and Albion.
All 3 from Brighton are walking up the road to South London. This is essentially a derby, isn't it? This is the closest Brighton have to a derby.
Well, it's become a bit of a derby, hasn't it? They had sort of like a contentious game in the playoffs. I believe, I might be wrong, so correct us in the comments, but this game has become kind of a big deal fixture between the 2 clubs for sure. Very much a grudge match.
So Crystal Palace have done exactly what they always do to us. They started the season well, and we stopped insulting them and said they look really good. And now they've lost 2 on the bounce, and losing to Everton, there's no shame in that. And losing to Chelsea, there's no shame in that. And truthfully, the Chelsea result was more of a 1 or 2-0 to Chelsea, and they just tacked on a couple penalties at the end to make it look a lot glossier than it actually was.
I don't even, until they got the first goal, it looked very unlikely Chelsea were going to score at all. It was a very tight game, which looked like it was playing into Palace's hands with the way they play on the counter-attack.
We said this enough times, but we talk about this. Like the basis of this Roy Hodgson team is that they are really well drilled. They have a sensational midfield that battles really hard for the ball, and they're really tight at the back. And they basically just rely on Wilfried Zaha. And Wilfried Zaha had started the season well. He had a couple moments against Chelsea where he looked good, but in general, Chelsea knew the game plan was to give the ball to Will Zaha, so they just didn't let that happen a huge amount. No one's afraid of Andros Townsend. Literally no one. I have honestly no idea. They clearly just don't have any other wingers to put in because he has not been good in a while. But Brighton, Ian.
He scored against Man U.
Everyone scores against Man U.
And shut up about
Literally.
Brighton. We're not talking about Brighton, talking about how good they are. They don't win. They play good and they don't win. So how good really are they?
My comment was going to be they had their first bad performance of the year and the lost match.
They've won 1 game this season, so the other games they played well and lost. What's the point of that?
Yeah. Well, they played.
We didn't win.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. They played against 2 of the. Well, they played against 2 of the. They played against 2 of the top teams in the country. Now they're coming up against Crystal Palace. Are they the top team in the country? No, they're an average team. So, I don't know.
We got to see it. We got to see if they can turn it on.
Yeah. Well, I haven't given my score prediction yet. You told me not to talk about Brighton, and then you told me to talk about
Brighton.
Brighton.
On and on about Brighton. I don't know why you got this love in for Brighton about them being amazing. You talk for hours about them. So I just wanted to cut that off at the pass and just remind you that they've only won 1 game this season, Thomas. How good are they really?
Is that an actual question or is it rhetorical?
It's very pretty. Hopefully, it'll just lead into a score prediction. But,
so you want? It's time for me to talk about my score now. Okay, cool. I'm going 2-1 to Brighton, Hove, and Albion.
I was hoping to antagonise you into a shouting match as well, but it didn't quite work. Well, I can't back Brighton now, can I? After all that, I'm going to go Palace. Come on, Roy. 1-0 Palace.
Oof. Chelsea FC versus Southampton FC.
This should be a good game, and I don't know what to expect because Chelsea have had a couple of games this season where they've had good score lines that haven't necessarily been that impressive. I don't think they were great against Brighton on the opening day, and I don't think they were that great against Palace to win the game 4-0, as you just talked about. Obviously, they will just say it's still a work in progress with the new players coming in. Ben Chilwell, he looked great on debut, I must say. Scored a wonderful goal, made another goal as well, looked very, very good going forward. And Southampton are also coming off a good win too.
Yeah, I mean, this is my problem with Chelsea, right? Is that like Ben Chilwell's a really good attacking left back. Everyone knows that. Ben Chilwell's only flaws are that he doesn't always track his man, and you're like, well, Chelsea, you don't have any defenders that can defend. Like, getting Kepa out of goal is going to be a huge boon to this team, because quite literally a stick man would do a better job than Kepa, because at least he wouldn't move out of the way of the ball. But
what about Ramsdale? Would he do better?
Yes, even Peter Ramsdale would do better. That's right. No, but this Chelsea team defensively are just all over the shop, and you felt it in the Palace game. It was like the whole team was nervous to let Palace even touch the ball because they knew what could happen. And Southampton had a really, really solid 2-0 win over West Brom. Danny Ings can't stop scoring. That's apparently a thing now. He is England's third best striker. Well done, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Honestly, where the hell have you come from? I honestly don't know what to think of this, though, because if there's a team that can beat Chelsea and like score 3 against them, it is like a Southampton.
Yeah, and again, what I talked about with West Ham, Ralph Hootenhatel's had those games where Southampton have been really good, and inexplicably they've had those games where they've been poor as well. And so I think this one will be a tough one for Chelsea. I actually think this one might be a draw. I'd actually more leaning towards the Saints win than the Chelsea win, which is weird. I think it's...
Do it, Ian! Pull the trigger! Be your best self.
I will not be goaded. I will not be goaded.
Pull the trigger on the result.
Southampton to win 3-2.
There he is. We all know my love for this attacking lineup in this team. Like, I love Mason Mount. I love Pulisic. I love all their young attacking players. Tammy Abraham, I actually felt really bad for in the last match because he really wanted that penalty. He played a really good game up front. Like, he played the target man. He did his job. And on the 4th penalty, he goes to take it, and Jorginho just waves him off. And it took Thiago Silva and about 4 other players dragging him away. And I don't know if you saw it, but after that penalty got taken, all the players went over to Tammy Abraham and were like, mate, it's okay. Just, we feel for you as well. But I just want to talk about it really quickly. I've never seen a team do that.
I saw it too. I actually thought Azpilicueta did a good job of just kind of breaking it up.
Yeah. No, they did a fantastic job. And you want to see a striker want the ball on a penalty.
Yeah,
like, there's nothing wrong with that. And it's just a rare thing to see all the players be like, yeah, well done, Jorginho. No, seriously though, mate, you did really well with you. I'm going to go for a Chelsea win. I'm going to go 3-1, but I don't think it'll be clean. I think it's going to be a bit like the Brighton game, where if somebody gets a header on goal, the whole result changes.
You know what? At some point, Werner and Havertz are going to turn it on, aren't they?
Well, exactly. Like, Werner hasn't even scored in the Premier League yet, has he?
Manchester City versus Arsenal.
People are talking about Arsenal winning the title this year.
Yeah, I'm sure you have some strong words on that, don't you?
It's not going to happen.
I mean, you just don't think. I mean, they look good and they look organised, and it was another laboured win really over Sheffield United that they made hard for themselves. And it's almost like they turn on the bits of skill when they need to. Like, it was 2 really nice goals, lovely finish by Saka, lovely individual goal by Pepe, but wasn't comfortable. You know, it was very late. And I know it's Sheffield United and that's what they do, but it wasn't comfortable. But Man City are not playing that well either.
What in God's name is going on at City? I mean, like, what's going on at all the top clubs in England? Maybe they've been so concentrated on, like, Project Perfection or whatever ridiculous name they're giving this total bullshit idea to stealing the Premier League away from everyone with. But, like, they drew 1-1 with Leeds, and, like, firstly you're like, both of these teams ship goals, and then it ends as a 1-1 draw, and you're like, well, this is garbage. But that, like, City are just an enigma this year. I don't think Pep knows how to solve the problem right now.
They haven't got a striker. I don't think that helps. They are trying to walk the ball into the net too much. It was nice to see Sterling, because they dominated that first, like, 20-25 minutes. And it was only like when Sterling just decided, fuck it, I'm having a shot, that they actually scored, other than just trying to walk the ball in. And Leeds got better as the game went on, but it was a shocker by Ederson for the equaliser.
Yeah, I mean, what the hell?
Yeah. Just come out and
I don't know what to say to that. Just like, what the hell?
Kind of the most lackluster Superman punch there ever was.
I don't know what to think, though, because I really did think City were going to win the league this year. I thought they were going to be fantastic.
Early days.
It is early days, but it's like they're not playing good football, and it's not like I can't see where City's dominance is going to come from, because they seem to have taken that weird thing they did historically where they possess the ball for 80% of the game and then lose 1 out of every 10 games, and they're not applying it to every other football game they play. Like, I get they have no strikers, but there's so much attacking talent in that team. They can't find someone to just stand up front. Like, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. But Dominic Calvert-Lewin, living proof. Just please, somebody stand in the 18-yard box and stay in front of the goal. It's your only job. It's all you've got to do. Just put Fernandinho or somebody up there. Just a giant guy who's like, well, he'll win the headers and he's got a touch, so we'll be fine. I don't know.
Well, this is another test of those Arteta tactics, isn't it? Of like what he's done against every single big side. He's just literally played defensively and tried to hit him on the counter-attack with a hell of a lot of pace. And it's worked quite well so far. And they beat City last time out with that tactic, didn't they? So,
City to win 2-0.
City 2-0.
I can't pick an Arsenal win, and we both know that.
I know you. I wouldn't expect you to, Thomas. So you're picking Manchester United's arch rivals to beat them. That's how much you hate them. But there you go. What does that tell you? I will back the Gunners because they are still like on for that invincible season. Still unbeaten. That Liverpool game doesn't count because Mane should have got sent off early doors. So they're still unbeaten in my book, and they're going to remain unbeaten with a creditable 1-1 draw. Surely this is a battle of two championship clubs. Leeds United versus Wolverhampton Wanderers. They're not big elite clubs.
Yes, they are, Ian. Because Leeds are the greatest team the Premier League has ever seen.
And Wolves have got the spirit.
Wolves have the spirit. I'm really torn talking about this game because Leeds have been phenomenal coming back up. They look easily like a top 10 side, if not like a top 8 side, if they can stop shipping crazy goals. Wolves, on the other hand, are a team that you and I have just waxed lyrical about since they got back into the Premier League. We love their manager. We love the style of play. We love Raul Jimenez, who just goals. We love Adama Traore. I don't even know what Adama Traore is. I don't think anyone knows what Adama Traore is. He's just electric.
I'm going to be controversial when it gets to me. So
I was going to allow you to speak then. So.
Okay. I preferred Wolves when they had Mick McCarthy, and I preferred Leeds when they had Steve Evans. That's just my comments that come to mind straight away. I don't think Wolves have been that great, though, but they've been good. Yeah. They haven't been fantastic. They haven't hit their stride yet so far this season. We know they could be a hell of a lot better. It was a very laboured win over Fulham.
I think sometimes we like to talk a lot about like the previous result to tell us how this game's going to go, but instead I'm going to give my result now and then talk backwards. I think Leeds are going to win this game 3-1. I think Wolves have been really laboured. I'm not saying it's the Europa League or whatever. I just think some teams have more of a hangover from last season than they want to. Man United are one of them. Wolves are one of them. Yeah. City haven't been able to solve their problems either. Leeds look like they're so excited to be back in this division, and they clearly have a world-class manager in charge who makes that 10% difference. And I just think they're not going to stop attacking. They're not going to stop flowing forward, and they're not going to change their style of play, and they don't need to, because they are actually not that bad at the back. They're making weird errors right now.
They grew into that game with City. They were overawed at the start, but they got better as the game went on, and arguably were the better side at the end.
And I think with Wolves, at some point, the penny will drop. At some point, they will improve slightly, and I'll go back to thinking they're going to win this sort of game, because this is the sort of game I'd normally say 2-1 to Wolves, because they've got that talent to do it. But I feel like right now, Leeds are flying.
Sold! I will take that 2-1 Wolves. The penny's dropped, and Leeds are due a defeat.
You know, this is probably the first week in a really long time where you and me are almost always picking a different result. Like, one of us is going to blow the other one out. Leicester City versus Aston Villa.
God, if you just looked at the start of the season, you'd have fit this as a nailed-on Leicester victory all day long. But now, this is a new Villa. The new Villa have arrived. This free-scoring, wonderful Aston Villa side.
Have you looked at the Premier League table?
Yeah.
You know what positions are playing each other in this match, right?
No.
It's 2v3, mate.
Okay, well,
Villa are second, Leicester are third. This is nuts. This is like...
But if you look, like Leicester are coming off that bad defeat, and Villa are coming off that amazing win. So that was why I was just going off on my little tangent about that one. But I just want to talk about one player, because obviously we always talk about Grealish and it was amazing, but I was really pleased for Watkins. I was so happy that he got his hat-trick. I think he's going to be great in the Premier League. I think he's got, it was a perfect hat-trick, wasn't it? It was right foot, left foot header. And a player like Barkley could be good at Villa. He's hot and cold, but when he's good, he is a match-winning player for sure when he's on the game.
I mean, it feels like Barkley and Grealish, they played really well together in that game, and it feels like they might have quite a connection. And I am very quickly going to touch on Grealish, because I've made fun of Jack Grealish for at least the last 12 months.
Yeah, sure.
And I just want to say that if he can continue even being half the player he's been this season, he's going to be freaking awesome, and he's going to be the sort of player that is in the England side week in, week out, because the way he played, especially in that international game, like it's
it was very much a case, and we're going over really old ground here, but it was a case if you stop Grealish, you stop Villa last season.
Yeah,
that's not the case anymore.
No, there's multiple outlets, and Watkins has worked so hard for this Villa team. Like, he deserved his goals, and he finally got them in a big game. But when you were watching them, it was like he couldn't get lucky in front of goal. Like, through balls would get played and they were an inch over his head. His touch at the final second was letting him down. It wasn't like he wasn't getting in the right positions. It was just he was almost trying too hard, and when a footballer tries too hard, they don't get the goals. And that oddly enough, the Liverpool game, it was just like he relaxed into the role and was like, I'm a striker, I'm going to score.
I think the early goal helped a lot.
Yeah.
I think, he got the goal out, wouldn't have relaxed him, wouldn't he? And his second goal was really good. The second goal was a great goal in that game. But
enough about Villa. Leicester
we don't need to talk
terrible.
Too much about Leicester. They were terrible, and they got done with really basic goals, but we know that's a bit of an anomaly. That's not a normal thing for this Leicester City side. They're usually doing what West Ham did to them, to other teams, with hitting teams with pretty good direct football and running in behind with a lot of pace. So I wouldn't say that means much. And I just think I'm going to back a Leicester win. I don't know why. I just fancy Leicester to have a good come back after that bad defeat, and I'm going to go for a narrow 2-1 Leicester win.
I'm going for the exact same, Ian. Excellent scoreline. It's about time we agreed on something.
Sheffield United versus Fulham.
Aaron Ramsdale 0, the Premier League 12 at this point.
Ramsbottom, surely.
Indeed, Mr. Ramsbottom. Is his name Aaron as well? I think it's Aaron. Sheffield United goalkeeper. I mean, to be fair, right, Sheffield United haven't been bad. I'm just messing around here. Sheffield United have been themselves just without scoring goals, and it's starting to hurt. They're dropping down the table because of it. But they're coming up against a team that pretty much everyone in the league wants to play, because Fulham, they can't get a win for love nor money.
Well, this is a huge game for both sides, but especially for Sheffield United, because you're right, they haven't been bad, but they've been beaten in every game so far, and they've only scored one goal. They are not getting a lot of luck. Really, Arsenal could have had David Luiz sent off early in that game, and that's a decision that's gone against Sheffield United earlier on in the season, and this time it didn't go for them. So they aren't getting the rub of the green. But if they don't beat this Fulham side, all of a sudden they are up against United, Chelsea, City, Liverpool, and it could go like 8 or 9 games.
Sorry, which United?
Newcastle. No, Manchester United. So it could be if they don't get the win here, it could be an even longer stretch of games without win. So that you get the feeling they really need something from this match. Fulham have been garbage, but they were better against Wolves, and they looked a lot better with Mitrovic and Camara playing up front together, and with I can't remember the name of the guy who was running in behind. He was really good as well, but I've forgotten his name, so you'll have to just
I'll figure that one out. I think actually the best thing that happened to Fulham was old Mr. Khan coming out and telling everybody how bad their players were.
Well, this was lambasted by Keane and Souness.
Yeah, it was lambasted by everybody in football.
They were calling him a clown for coming out and saying this.
Scott Parker was like, how is this helpful to the team? Because if you don't replace them and sell them right away, what do they have to play for? You're their boss, and you've just come out and gone, you're not good enough to be here. I'm trying to get rid of you actively. You're shit.
But didn't you say that was a good thing?
No, I'm saying it's actually played out well, because their reaction to this as a club in that Wolves game seemed to be like, fuck what everyone's saying. Forget about all this stuff. just hunker down and play football and try as hard as you can. They tried really hard, and it was a hard luck 1-0 loss. Like, Wolves in no way dominated that game. In no way were you like, yeah. But I actually think Fulham are more likely to score goals than Sheffield United. Yeah. And I think I'm going to go for a Fulham 1-0 win.
I'm not. And you know it's a wilder thing with me. I can't back against him.
No,
and
okay.
I think Sheffield United will get the win here. I'm going for a 2-1 Sheffield United win.
So they're gonna triple their goal total in one game.
They will. They only got one goal, but it was a beauty.
No.
It's my line.
No, listen. There is no main event this week. It's been called off. There's just a football match that needs to be played.
How dare you do that to Steve Bruce? Because it's time for the last match.
Newcastle United versus Man United.
Broken man, folks. He is on his knees. So let's give him a moment to compose himself. Obviously, we know Man United were blown away by Spurs. And you are going to no doubt hear a long rant about this in just a second. Let's just touch on Newcastle really quickly. Again, I talked about some other sides that are very up and down. When they're good, they're great. When they're terrible, they're terrible. And Newcastle have had a good start to the season with 2 wins and a draw. They got a good win out last weekend. Callum Wilson adds so much to their side. St. Maximan had one of those games where he was unplayable.
We lost 6-1!
Shush, we'll get to it. And those players that have got a lot of pace are going to cause Manchester United problems in this game, because you know Steve Bruce is going to be compact and then try and hit them on the break. So it's worrying for Man U. They've been terrible at the back. But we'll get to scores at the end. Thomas, resident expert, Manchester United fan, try not to shout too much and tell us what happened.
I don't know where you go from here, right? I'll get the unfairness out the way really quickly. I didn't think leading up to the sending off Man United had been half as bad as everyone seems to want you to think. They'd had 4 or 5 shots on goal to that point. It was only 2-1. Yeah, they'd shipped the lead back, but when Harry Maguire decides to tackle the left back in the middle of the box to stop him from clearing the ball, these things tend to happen. Or when he fouls Kane 40 yards out of goal for no apparent reason and doesn't step in front of the ball, so Harry Kane can literally just play a through ball straight to Son. But I digress. That's not... What is Eric Lamela doing? He's elbowed a bloke in the freaking neck. And yeah, Martial shouldn't slap him in the face to respond, but he's elbowed him in the neck, and VAR have looked at that and decided that's not a sending off as well. He's just done that.
You're saying, what's Lamela doing? That's what Argentinian players do. What's the
What
referee?
is VAR?
That's why.
What is VAR doing? It's surely their job is to look at red card. Is that not a red card to both of them at that point?
You would have thought so.
This is what baffled me. If you're sending off him, Lamela has literally elbowed him in the throat.
Personally, I thought Martial could have blinded him.
But enough of this, right? Man United were totally outplayed in that game, and Spurs were it was like watching one team go up as another team just goes down. We've become the Liverpool of the last 20 years. It is painful. We are still doing shit backwards. The entire world has changed the way football is played, and you run a football club, and we're still sat there nah, mate, Ed Woodward can deal with this, it's fine. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, mate, where is your fucking backbone? Jesus Christ. Come out and just start saying stuff. You have the backing of the fans, and I don't know why, but they all really like you, despite there being no brand of football being played under you. Just start niggling at the board. Do what Pochettino did at the end of Spurs, what Mourinho did at the end of Man United, and just start coming out and being we're not good enough. I'm not getting the backing. We need more players. Yeah.
I watched the Sky Retro YouTube video of when Ferguson lost 6-1 to Man City.
Yeah.
And the difference between him and Ollie is just unbelievable, because Ferguson was almost just laughing it off what the fuck have I just witnessed? And you know that those players are in for hell the next time they get on the training field. Whereas you get the feeling Ollie turned up to training and all the players just pinned a note on the door saying, we're off on international duty. Bye.
It was a bit... There's so much wrong with this club, and it was all encapsulated in this one game. A lot of people I've spoken to have been but if Solskjaer starts talking out against the club, they'll fire him. Good. At least then other clubs will know that the manager's a backbone, because right now he's a stooge.
So, Ollie.
I have more.
Fired?
No, they're never going to fire him because they don't need to fire him because he's not doing a bad job.
But
because the team, sorry.
But do you think he should be fired?
No, not yet. I don't. I think if you give somebody a series of really, really, really shitty tools and then expect them to build a house with it, and all you gave them was a hammer and some nails and not even like the wood to build the house with, that you're in trouble. Harry Maguire, Paul Pogba, freaking Edison Cavani, even to this point. Like, all the signings we make are panic signings. Jadon Sancho is not a player we need. All the other clubs in world football that are at the top of their game are signing players you don't think about. Because if you only sign name brand talent the entire time, you're either Real Madrid, and every player is that, or you can't build a team because you're square pegging and round holing. Like, where is our director of football? Where is our links to other clubs? Where is our, like, yeah, we're signing young players, but they're cheap. The most expensive player Bayern Munich have is Manuel Neuer. They signed him a decade ago for 25 million. And we're out signing 18-year-olds that have played 3 Serie A games for 45 million and then coming out and talking about how this is part of a grand plan. What? What grand plan? I just watched you get nailed to a wall by a Spurs side that don't spend money on players. Like, what? What is this plan? How are we going to redefine the wheel of football and come out on top? Like, what are you doing? Oh, wait, we are going to redefine. Oh, we're going to rig the league so we can't get relegated? Oh, sorry. I didn't know that was coming, but well done, Ed Woodward. We'll never get relegated. Oh, everything about this club is depressing.
What do we say then? Do we think that Man United are going to beat this Newcastle side then?
I mean, I have to say they're going to beat him, but like, I'm literally at the point now where I'm like, it's going to be 2-1 to Man United. Also, all those people that hated De Gea last year and were like, oh, De Gea out. He's not made a mistake this year. He's literally right back to being one of the best goalkeepers on earth. It's not his fault they shipped 6 goals.
He let 6 goals in. Henderson didn't.
Good point. I've been proven wrong again.
Right, I think, and I've said this before, but I'm bringing it up again. I think that Newcastle beat Man United by 2-1 in this one, and I think at the end of it, they do a little job swap, and Bruce goes home with Man United, and Solskjaer stays in the northeast with the Geordies.
At least, Steve Bruce would beat the hell out of his players for losing 6-1.
You expected a long rant, folks, and you certainly got one. You could have been longer, but I think mercifully, the 2 weeks that have passed in between it has maybe calmed him just a touch.
This is already a 45-minute video, Ian. I thought they deserved to go home. Ian, I'm gonna need you to wrap it up this week because I'm just sad now.
Okay, right. Well, I will do that then. Thank you very much to everybody that watches our video. If you can hit like, that helps us out so much. And if you also haven't subscribed to the channel, please think about subscribing and hit the notify bell so you don't miss out on future videos. Amazon and audio links are down in the description, and go and check out Grandstand Betters as well. And look at the end of the video as well, where you can see some links to some future and past videos where you can see what we predicted for the whole season and see how badly we've been doing so far. Games are coming thick and fast, so there'll be tons more content on the channel, and we will see you very soon.